In 1999, Star Wars Episode I: The Phantom Menace was released. I sat in the dark with hundreds of strangers also dressed in their finest Jedi robes, and I thought to myself, this is good, right? I left the theater to lines of hundreds more people waiting excitedly for the next showing. As I passed the rows of robed figures, I thought to myself, it was good, right? That night, I laid awake trying to ignore the feeling of emptiness, the feeling that I missed something. So I found myself back in that same theater 2, 3, 4 more times trying to find what I was missing. The music was good, the special effects good, the action choreography good, acting mostly good, mostly bad, dialogue, plot bad, directing bad. My sweet fucking Mothra! Is this movie bad? No, no! I've paid my dues in hanging the posters, sleeping in the licensed bed sheets, tolerated the dancing Jar Jar Binks bank. How could have George Lucas, our idol, betrayed our devout faith? When I voiced my thoughts, others attacked me for abandoning George Lucas's vision. I started to self-victim shame. I was the one that didn't get it. I was wrong for seeing the faults in our cinema deity. Then Episode 2 came out and everyone said it wasn't as good. Yes! They're starting to see the cracks in the foundation! Then came Episode 3. It was good. Not because the film had quality, not because the vision was better, but because the others were such shit that Episode 3 being marginally better was like giving a hot dog to a starving man. No bun. Reputably Rubbish presents Practical Advice. Tips to help you avoid bad movies. Our favorite actors are just phoning it in. An up-and-coming director collapses under the pressure. A long-awaited follow-up to a classic that seemed to just not care. We've all been there. A movie is coming out that you're excited for, but against all hopes, it's heartbreakingly bad. I'm sorry if this is too relatable. You are not alone. Unfortunately, the list of disappointments is very, very long and seems to grow every year. Take pride in knowing that we are no longer the dung beetle happy to roll the shit Hollywood gives us. We must be self-aware in our cinema choices so we can spot the telltale signs of a bad movie trap. Choosing movies because of the director. Remember, this and this were done by the same guy. Every artist will have different eras in their career, or will take experimental risks that won't always pay off. Be especially cautious of directors whose first movie was a masterwork, as you don't know what their overall run will look like. Choosing movies that star your favorite actor. Good actor does not guarantee good movie. Range for an actor is a great way to gauge their talent, but it is a bit of a double-edged sword. As an actor experiments with their range, you may discover that they may be great in one role, but it does not translate well to all roles. Unfortunately, there's plenty of excellent actors that are only good for one type of role. There's also the curse of being an excellent actor in a stream of terrible roles. We know Tom Holland can dance. Let's fucking see it in a movie. It's also important to remember that when an actor signs onto a project, they themselves do not know how the film will look until the actual premiere. Featuring the music of. If a studio has little faith in a project, they will hinge a portion, if not a massive portion, of the marketing on an aspect of the movie that has little to do with what actually makes the film at all good. If you see a title card focused on the popular song list at that time, they are looking to recoup some of their budget through album sales. The film will often have only a short section of the song shoehorned into the film to justify the album's existence. Or worse yet, the film itself will end up being nothing more than an ad for the album. In either case, the album will be found in the next year in a garage sale or thrift stores all across the nation. Eat it, Trolls World Tour! Review or media embargoes! You ever notice how sometimes there's a movie that has a massive marketing push, but you don't actually see any reviews until the day before the release? That's because the studio knows they made shit and want to keep it all a secret for as long as possible. They understand that it's butts in seats that make the returns. They hope to boost the pre-release ticket sales before word of mouth hits ears. With the increase of instant information and people waiting to stream movies at home, this strategy is losing its effects. What's the best way to reduce bad reviews? Simple! Make better fucking movies! You hear that, Sony? Based on a popular book. Most Americans did not know how to pronounce Hermione. Tom Bombadil was not at all in the movie. John Hammond was a bastard in the book? Whenever a story crosses to a new medium, alterations need to be made. Sometimes a character doesn't look how you envisioned them. A plot point may be executed differently for enhanced effect. However different the alteration may be, if you then go and try to reread the book, it will now be different than how you originally imagined it. While not as common, sometimes the movie is actually better than the book. Based on a beloved franchise. Warning, warning. Possible triggering subject. Team Jacob versus Team Edward. The light side versus the Sith. Which house do you belong to? Star Trek Into Darkness was just a bad remake of Star Trek II. It's good to belong to a group of like-minded people who share common interests. However, the more your investment of time, money, and passion into that fandom, the more it'll hurt when an entry into that storyline is disappointing. No one can hurt us like the ones we love. With any meaningful relationship, you have to accept the good with the bad. Don't let a few bad entries detract from your enjoyment from the overall community or cinematic experience. While it may be argued that these vocal crowds have improved some projects, I would also argue that it's this pressure to increase the fan service that has ruined others. Speaking of communities, please like, comment, and subscribe to join ours. It does a lot to help a small channel grow. Let us continue. You can say, "But Chris, there's a lot of movies that commit these faux pas and those are still amazing." You would be correct. These categories are not a guarantee that a film will be bad, but there's enough historical evidence to be cautious. When you're viewing a film for the first time, it's best to keep Nicolas Cage in mind. Despite any of your expectations, you don't actually know what the fuck you're about to get. This is why I encourage you to rewatch a film that has disappointed you in the past, but redirect your expectations. It's best to accept each movie as its own vision, expression, and story. And if you view a film knowing that it can be bad, you can find the unintentional comic brilliance hidden therein. This is how bad movies become cult classics, and they tend to thrive far longer than any that wins awards. At the end of the day, a movie's job is to entertain. To be good is not a job requirement. Long live the guilty pleasure movies! Thank you for joining me today, and remember to give one another, and especially yourself, patience, compassion, and grace. Even in the bad, there is good to be found. Thank you.
Thank you for watching this talkie picture. Please leave a message down below, select the like picture, and subscribe to be a member of our community. Thank you.